Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode from TCG 353. I am Jamie. Today we're playing Blue Buggy, who is a leader I didn't expect to be so fun and so aggressive. You see some of the deck tech options there. A lot of creativity when it comes to this deck. You're going to see the list that I'm playing here today. Without further ado, let's get into the game. If you like these videos, leave a like. If you want to subscribe, feel free to do so. Let's talk about the first game against Black Yamato. Very, very strong card in the meta at the moment, Black Yamato. People are rating it A tier, S tier. Same with Buggy. Maybe not S tier because Purple and Null still hangs around, but it is a very cool, unique version of Black that people haven't seen before. On our first turn here with Buggy, we've played down a brown clay and we swung 6 on second turn, swung 6 with our leader second turn, and play out the Ivankov blocker then. The Ivankov blocker is to protect and also to spawn out a Prisoner of Impel Down. So we're asking them basically to turn their blocker sideways if they want to get rid of the Bonclay. And to be honest, we could consider, so they swing 3 there, so we're going to let that go. But if they just swung 2, I probably would have given them a 2k, because that card is actually just really useful in hand. We have a nice enough play here. The only thing is we need an attached on for leader ability, so we can't do any of the kind of fancy combo that we actually would like to do, which would be play down Bonclay and play down Croc and play out a Prisoner of Impel Down as well. We could have just got the double draw off that play, but I'd rather just flood the board with Impel Down for the time being, which is why you see us using the Ivankov, because the Ivankov, when it takes a block, can just spawn out a prisoner, which is really good. My build here, I have only 12 prisoners in, so it doesn't flood as hard, but we will use the leader ability as often as possible. The reason for that is because we're actually running 4 of the 1-cost events. That's a 4k counter for Buggy, and also makes all your Prisoner Impel Down type characters 7,000 power, which for 1 Don is very, very strong. Like on average you'll have 3 in the board at any one given time, especially towards the end game. So 1 Don for 3 Don is great value. If you're able to flood the board actually with Prisoner of Impel Down, that's 1 Don for 5 Don value, which is incredible. Our opponent swings 8 into the 6 and we let that go. We could give them counter, but we choose not to, because we have some pretty nice plays to make next turn without it, especially now that we've drawn into that Buggy. There are some cool and fun ways to play out this turn. We definitely want to go aggressive because we have strong swingers on board, so we're going to use them. We'll swing 6, 6, 6, 3 6s, so we're just asking for a lot of counter out of hand. And we could use the Buggy and spawn out a Prisoner Impel Down, but rather than that, we'll use the Croc to restand the Bonclay, draw a card, and play out Bonclay at the end to draw a card. So we got a lot of value that turn with the drawing cards. That I think we only went down on 1 card or 2 cards possibly from being able to flood the board, and us getting the Bonclay restanded means that they can't swing into it, which is very valuable for us actually. Now this is what our opponent chooses to do. They swing 5 at us first and we'll give them the Buggy for a counter. We're not going to really swarm anymore, and the next time we play out a Prisoner Impel Down will be with the leader ability, so we won't have space for the Buggy on the board. However, the Miss Olive could be more useful. You see we pulled into the Prisoners Are Rioting here. We have 3 Impel Down characters on the board, so we spend 1 Don and we make them all 7,000 power for this turn. So 1 Don, 3 Don value, which is very, very strong, which allows us now to look more at going for lethal here. We'll swing 7 at the start, see what they give us. Maybe they'll give us that 3-cost event they have. Yes, they will. So now we'll pepper up with another 7. This is to get the 2 and the 1 away. They take that, so we're actually going to go for another 7 here. They'll take that as well, and now we can actually load up quite nicely with our Bonclay. We'll swing 8 first. Our opponent takes again. We'll swing 8. They give us just a bunch of 1Ks, and we'll swing 8 to finish, which we do believe will go through. Yes, it does. So good game to our opponent. It was the Impel Down card that won us that at the end of 100%. We had another in hand, which obviously wasn't much use to, or another in life, which isn't much use to us. But that is what got us lethal there. So, you know, something to consider. I haven't seen many deck lists running that card, and I just really do think it's very strong. So let's talk about this Black Yellow Teach matchup now. I watched Abster's video yesterday. Is it Abs? Oh, Abster, yeah. Abster TCG. I watched his video yesterday on the perfect Teach list. He said he has 72% win rate, so I don't think that the comments that this deck isn't the best deck in format are really standing all that much. I just think it's a really high skill cap get the deck and goes into the late game much longer than what people expect to play it out. It looks like a hard deck. I've seen some of the lines that you can do and it's confusing, to be honest, and I like a deck like it. So you know, one of those things to consider if you are choosing to play it. We will, on this turn, we were going to play the Croc out anyway, or rather we were going to play out the Galdino Raw, but our opponent rests the Dasbones, so we don't have that line. So instead we use the Croc to bounce the Dasbones back to hand, play it out again, and get a Prisoner of Impel Down back. Restanding the 2 costs in this deck is really, really useful with Croc. It's not just the ability to get the Prisoner of Impel Downs out. They trigger out a rest, or they trigger out a Vasco shot, which allows them to rest a character if they get KO'd. So maybe that is what our opponent will do. We will continue the aggression. So we've swung 1/6, another 6, another 6, and we are considering the 4th 6 in turn 3, by the way, which is very, very aggressive. And our opponent trashes our card to rest the Prisoner of Impel Down, so we don't have a blocker this turn, which is fine. If our opponent chooses to go and try and clear board, we'll just we'll allow them to do it because we don't actually have any 2Ks in hand. That is the catch-22 of just running 12 Impel Down characters as opposed to 16, is that since we're so aggressive with playing them out on the board, sometimes we don't actually have 2K counter in hand, and we instead have a lot of events. So this style of buggy is a little different to what I've seen. If we had an Impel Down there, you bet we would have used it. Our opponent swings 8 into our Croc, we let that go. And now we have 3 6K bodies on the board, and we have our leader. We're considering using this sneaky event. I think the best line, and I hope we go for it, will be to swing with our characters first before using that. Yes, we do. So 1/6, another 6. I presume we're going to see a Vasco shot come out of trash here, so that he can negate. Yes, so that he can negate 1 swing that we're going to bring to him. And we're just considering how we want our Don to look. I think leaving a Don up for an event is actually quite useful. We'll use this and we get a buggy, which is very, very nice, and we get a prisoner. But what we can do, see, because we don't have a Prisoner of Impel Down in hand, we can't spawn one out. If we could, that would have been really cool. We would have played over the buggy, so we could have had 4 prisoners out. However, since we have a buggy and a Prisoner of Impel Down out, what we can now do, which is really useful, is finally set Prisoner of Impel Down for a blocker. Will we want to? I'm not too sure, but we do have a Prisoner of Impel Down in hand, so if they swing like they are here, if they swing 8 into 6, we can take that and just play out a prisoner, which is actually a much better move than giving them counter here, because it would cost us 2 cards in hand to protect that card, but we can just spend 1 card to get it back on the board. Another kind of thing to consider when you're playing this deck. We have 4 prisoners out now, which is very good, and we had just enough counter to protect them all, which is even better. And now we are going to use our event, so that is 1 Don for 4,000 power, and here we are going for lethal. Our opponent doesn't have so many cards in hand, and they played at the 10 cost each. That does not freeze. They get believe a 7K San Juan from life and play it out. I'm actually not sure how they got that San Juan there, to be honest. And we're splitting out our Don in such a way. Oh, they got it from the Dr. Q. What's his name? The Van Augur ability, I believe. Or they triggered it from life. So they became a 7K leader, and we still had enough aggression to be able to take them out because we had 4 Impel Down characters and we had that event. That event is so useful in getting lethal. So please consider it. I know this build isn't run champion rifle and it could be something to consider, but you've seen that 2 of my events there just won us that game 100%. So it is very useful. We play out our 2-cost Luffy against blue yellow Nami now. We play out our 2-cost Luffy and attach Arrested Dawn just in case they are able to remove our Luffy. We can play out a prisoner. We're considering playing the Galdino out raw, but they do run Zeus in Nami, so I'm not too keen on doing that. Playing out the Galdino raw is kind of useful because you get a swing and then you can trash it, play out a prisoner, so you just get more value that way. We swing 8 into our opponent and they give us the trash and a 2k. They're just trying to set up their trash for Thriller Bark, which makes sense. We have a Miss Olive for next turn, but our Bontley can't attack now, which kind of ruins the aggression that we had planned from last turn, because we could have swung 6, 8, and then and something else, but now it worked out pretty nicely for us. Anyway, we play a buggy into a prisoner and attach Arrested with Luffy, attach and attach it on to swing 7, and our opponent takes the trigger. And they triggered out, or they played out a prone last turn. That's why our Bontley was frozen. So Papa Roger is considering what to do. They play out Kiku Raw and swing 6 into us. We have a Prisoner of Impel Down as blocker here with the buggy ability, and we take that 6. And here we take that 7 as well. Our hand at the moment is fairly defensive, just with all the events that we have in hand. We do have the Galdino to be able to freeze the Kiku, and with the Galdino ability we can play out of prisoner as well. So that is a line we are very much considering. It's very nice to have the Bontley in hand against this matchup, and I think it is probably the best card that we have against Nami, because when Nami becomes 7k, Bontley can swing into it for 8 with just 1 attached on. Incredibly strong actually. And we have more Dawn to be able to spread out. So we'll go 7 with Buggy into Perona. Maybe they choose to take this and freeze a Buggy, and then we will trash the Galdino to freeze their Kiku and play out a prisoner. Pass the turn. With our Buggy ability we can block with a prisoner, so we probably will protect the Bonkley. And our opponent concedes. Did they have a line? Oh no, they just made a mistake. And I don't know what mistake they made. They meant to play out Agos Jaha into the Agos Blackbeard. GG's to our opponent. I really think we had that win anyway. This is why I'm including it in this game. Let's go into a fun matchup against Blue Jinbe, blue on blue action. Jinbe is super aggressive. I don't know if they're using Impel Down characters in this build, but Jinbe is just historically a pretty aggressive deck, as we are, so it's a good matchup to see for you guys. We played out the 2-cost Luffy and attach Arrested Dawn, and our opponent played out a draw card, a Searcher and another Searcher, and swings 6 into us, which we take. We're on our 4 Dawn turn now, and we have the option of using Galdino if we want, but I think the best line would be to attach Arrested Dawn, play out the Galdino. Our opponent doesn't have any removal that I know of. Maybe they can use the 4-cost law. Yeah, they use the 4-cost law, which suits us perfectly, to be honest, because we can get the removal with the leader ability off, and also we have the Galdino back in hand to use that again. So pretty good from us, we're happy with that. Our opponent uses leader ability to swing 5, we'll give them 1k counter there. And they may use leader ability again to swing 5, and we'll let that one through. And it's going to be 6 with their leader then as well, and we'll give them 2k for that. Next turn we can either use 5-cost Buggy, or we can use Galdino again and spawn out a prisoner. Just for the start we're going to swing into their bodies. Yeah, that was the right choice. We used the Buggy there. We'll swing 6 into their tree, and then we'll swing 7 into their life. And we have a blocker active. They're incentivized to swing into that Luffy. because it's going to be annoying for them for the game, so that'll act as a sort of pseudo blocker. We have a blocker out in Impel Down. We take that 7. Our opponent swings another 7 into us, and we're expecting to see another 7 after that. Yes, we do. And they swing it into Luffy, which will take and play out a prisoner. From here, we'll play a Daz Bones. You see, we pull into the event, and we have 3 Impel Down characters up now, which is quite good. And we choose to just go, we choose to go aggressive with the event. That being said, you have to have 10 on for the ability to activate, so our aggression is a bit miscalculated there. We'll just swing a bunch into our leader to be very, very aggressive. And here in this spot, it is possible for our opponent to go for game, like very much so. But the thing with their cards is that if they were to attach Don, then they wouldn't be able to use the, like they would have to attach Don to a 3k body, or else they could have just gone maybe like 8, 9, I think, or 8, 8, and 8, which could have possibly went through. But unfortunately for them, fortunately for us, they didn't go for that line, and we are still in the game. They play out a boa, however, and they use a 7k swing to go into one of our prisoners, and we let that go. The Daz Bones unfortunately isn't online. It also can't attack, so that's one thing to be said. But it isn't online now because we don't have 5. Oh, we have 5 cards in hand now, so that is actually something to note. We'll swing 7, opponent takes. We'll swing 9, our opponent takes, and we'll just go and attach 6 down to go for the finish there at 11. Could our opponent have won there? I mean, we would have drawn into 1k and 2k counter, so we would add 3k counter in hand and 2k from that, so I think we would have survived. So maybe they were wise not to, I'm not too sure. Anyway, let's talk about this next game. Another OP16 leader in Ace, who is a late game rush specialist, so their early game is kind of slow, and for us our early game is really, really fast. So we will see how this matchup actually plays out. We don't have leader ability active here, but I don't believe they can remove this anytime soon. They'll swing 8k into us, and we'll let that one through. We'll attach it down to our leader, we'll attach it onto Daz Bones, swing 6 and 6, and play at the Ivankov. That is like a really, really good play for early game, in my opinion, because we can protect our Daz Bones, and we also use the Ivankov then to, as a blocker, to protect the Daz Bones and play out a Prisoner of Impel Down. So already it is kind of going perfectly for us. The line that we have here as an option is to play out a Miss Olive and bounce the Daz Bones back to hand and draw 2 trash 1 and play a Prisoner of Impel Down, or we can use to play the Ace, something like that. We actually bounce a prisoner back to hand rather than bouncing the Daz Bones, and we'll trash the Ivankov because we have to and play with the prisoner again. So everything's standing up now, so our opponent will have to swing into life, which will just give us more resource for later. For later on in the game. I hope you can't hear that pigeon, by the way. There's just a pigeon going crazy in the gutter. A gutter pigeon, if you will. Our opponent plays out a 6 cost Marco and swings 5 with their leader. We'll just take the free block there, and they swing 8 with the Marco on rush, and we'll take that. We have a buggy into Prisoner of Impel Down play. We could also use the event if we choose to. I think first thing first is attaching it on to a leader to get the leader ability going. We can be more aggressive in this turn if we go and don't use the 1 cost event, so that is actually what we're going to do, especially since our opponent has taken so many hits. So we'll play out buggy, and we'll actually swing one of Miss Olive as well, because we're not afraid of getting KO'd, and our opponent's hand was just extremely bricked. They could have surviving that next turn, or this turn, but they couldn't have survived afterwards, and they conceded. So our aggression was just too much, really, much too much. Even if they had removed something from our board there, we would have played out a prisoner and had pretty much guaranteed lethal next turn. So let's go into this Impel Luffy 2-piece matchup. We have one game against this opponent and another game against this opponent. We go back to back. So let's see how it works out. This is actually a really fun, really cool deck. The green, blue Impel Luffy. It is super aggressive, but also very technical in a way that I didn't expect before I played it. We're going to start off with a 6k swing into their life. They give us 2k, and we don't have a prisoner to play, or we don't have a buggy to play. There's no point. So we'll use the croc and bounce the Bonclay back to hand and play out a prisoner as well, just to get that draw off with it, really. We couldn't swing with it if we wanted to use the buggy ability, and we prioritised that to be able to flood the board a little bit more. Our opponent swings 6 into us, we'll take that. We have a bunch of events in hand. At the moment, our opponent swings 7 into us, we'll take that. We have all the events in hand. That is something to be considered, especially that we don't have Prisoner of Impel Down in hand at the moment. It is actually a bit of well, it's not very useful, to be honest, to have so many in hand, to have so many events in hand, other than them just being 4Ks. We'll swing 6 into their Luffy. They give us a 2k initially, and they give us a block and a counter the second time round. We have a Bonclay, and our Bonclay searches another event. We use the Galdino to draw 2, and we draw into a prisoner, and we will actually play that out. Look, it could be good to have the 2k in hand, but we have so many events that when we are feeling like we're going to get pressured by our opponent into losing the game, then we can leave Don up. That being said, we haven't left Don up at the moment, but we have frozen them out quite a lot. So we'll see how this turn goes. Or if our opponent chooses to go for lethal there, they get it, pretty much. And hopefully they won't, and they don't by the looks of it. They have 3 Don up. They'll swing 5 into the Bonclay. We let that go. We don't have a prisoner to play out, so we can't. Their buggy can't attack, so they have 3 attacks left up, and they use their leader ability to active 2 Don, and they pass. I think what they're hoping for is to not let us get the leader ability off. Would be my 2 cents on that. They take the block with Croc. We'll swing with our prisoner there. We'll swing with another prisoner there just to whip them down a little bit more. They use an event to counter this 3-cost freeze event, or 1-cost rest 2 Dawn freeze event, Supernova. We have so much events in hand that it's kind of hard to beat us, to be honest, which is something that's good to note. We'll use the Miss Oliva and bounce a prisoner back to hand, and we will trash an event 100%, and we can play a prisoner out again if we so choose. However, that prisoner won't be a blocker, so it doesn't do much for us on the board other than allow us to go for like a better chance at lethal next turn, so we leave it down. There were more defensive lines this turn, to be fair, that we could have made if we had chosen to, but we didn't. We tried to be a little bit more aggressive with our Dawn. Our opponent swings 6 into us at the moment. We have 1 2k in hand, so I think it's wise for us to just give them that 2k so it looks as if we're in a bad spot. We'll give them 2 1ks, possibly we're baiting them out to go all in. And that looks like that's exactly what we're doing. Yeah, that is exactly what they're doing, what we're doing, because they have the conditions met for the event. And we take this one for that exact same reason again. So we have 3k counter in hand, and we have 2 events up, and we give them 2k there. They'll use the event, add 2 Dawn, and we'll see how it shakes out now. They'll swing into our Bonclay, they'll swing into our Buggy, they'll swing into our Life, and they'll swing into our Life again. We'll just give them a counter event for that. Would be the smartest choice, but no, we give them 2 1ks instead, and they leave their Croc up as a blocker. Now here we still have all our events and we have a croc blocker. So if we'd like to, we could probably sustain ourselves, try and take out their board. Like we could definitely get rid of the Bon Clay, and we could try and get rid of the Buggy as well. However, we go for lethal, and the way we go for lethal is 3 9s, which maybe we could have gone 8, 9 and 10 rather. It's hard to know fully. So their opponent takes the block in the next one and has counter enough for the end, and then we just choose to concede. They had 2k and a 1k on top of that, so 8, 9 and 10 wouldn't have worked. But I do believe, and why I'm including this, well, it is back to back, so we'll see if we can get him back in a crackback. But why I'm including that game there is because I think we could have gone really defensive and swung into the Bon Clay and got that off the board so that they didn't have the event, or if they did, then it was like a limited capacity of the event, and then we could have tried to got rid of the Buggy, which they would have protected definitely, and played defensively, played the Croc, bounced the Bon Clay back to hand, play out in the Vankov, and just left a Bunchy down up for leader ability. Or we could have used the 7 cost. Anyway, there was lines we could have won, I do believe. Our opponent has one of the greatest starts you will ever see Green Blue Luffy list have, and that is pretty much all their little swarm bodies out early on in the game. They bounce the Daz Bones back to hand and draw a card. They are now attaching Dawn to their Luffy, who can swing 5 because they have so many different names on the board. They'll swing 7 with their own Luffy, and they don't use the Bon Clay to swing. I presume they're protecting it for later on in the game. I presume so, yeah, because they could have swung 2 6s there, and they probably would have. Well, no, I would have counted out a 1, but they would have got a card out of hand. We swing 6 with our leader into the Luffy, and they give us the Croc. We'll play out the Miss Oliva and bounce a Prisoner of Impel Down back to hand and play it back out, and we'll leave our Bon Clay standing. The reason we leave it standing is because we don't have a Dawn to attach to it. It's not some play that we want to keep our board pressure high. It's literally we just didn't have a Dawn to do so. We'll use the 2 cost rest Luffy here, or attach a rested Dawn Luffy here. Our opponent plays out a Croc and bounces back the Daz Bones, so the Daz Bones is drawing them a card now. They have 2 Crocs on board, and they swing 7 with Luffy, and they leave the Bon Clay standing again, which I'm not too sure about, to be honest. I don't get that all that much. But then again, I'm not playing for my opponent, so it's all good. They have 6k Croc, so whenever I swing into this Luffy to get rid of it, they are pretty adamant on protecting it, which is cool. It's good for them. We're just seeing what line that we want here. It's possible that we could use the Croc, or we could use the Buggy. We actually do have options here. We like the Buggy a bit more because it's more Dawn efficient, and also allows us to swarm more and have a blocker up to possibly protect a swing into the Bon Clay, if that's something that our opponent chooses to do. We can't rest our Miss Olive because of their Nico, or their Boa Hancock. However, we do have Galdinos in hand for that card exactly, so we're happy about that. We were playing with the event in mind much more this game than we were in the last game. We take the hit there and play out another prisoner, and with their 5k swing we'll just block out. And because we set that blocker sideways, they have actually got the rested event off, which is a bit of a shame because our board is full now, and if we play anything out, then we're playing over something and kind of losing value that way. However, like, it is something we kind of have to do, so it is something we will do. Unless we just wanted to go maybe 999 and just swing super aggressive into our opponent. We're able to take down their board, which is very good for us. And here we'll play the Nico Olive to draw 2 trash 1, and we'll trash a brick from hand. That brick being one of the events, because we only want one event, or we want one event up for being aggressive. We don't use the leader ability that moment because we want to use the Galdino play out the Galdino into empty space, trash it, and then use leader ability. So that was the right sequence in there. And now their Boa Hancock can't attack. And our board is very, very strong. We haven't lost any power, we've just lost some prisoners, which we do still have a lot of. So maybe they want to swing into the buggy, and I think it would be nice for us to take here so we can play out a prisoner. And now we have 3 prisoners and the event in hand, so we can go pretty aggressive if we'd like to. Our opponent doesn't have a blocker up. We have the event, and that's exactly what we're going to use. We also have some prospect of going defensive next turn if we want. Our opponent miscounters there by accident. They give us 2k there, so that didn't really matter in the grand scheme. That's why I'm including this still. So they would have had 2 and a 1. They had 2 bricks at the end, and we had too many swings to be able to get through. We still had 2 more swings to go, and each of those swings would have been 7 and 8, and we had a 9k swing as well that our opponent couldn't get out of. So we would have got them at the end, is my point. So good game to our opponent, good games in general. Blue Buggy is an awesome list. We're not even using the Champion Rifle, which is considered one of the better cards in this deck, because I do believe in the 2 events we're running at the moment. Possibly this list could run a few more prisoners, but I do like the abilities of this deck at the moment, especially pairing with that 1 cost event that you rest 7 down and you play out 6k character or 6,000 power bodies. Like playing out 2 blockers that can bounce cards back to hand and use leader ability and draw 2 trash 1 and play out a smaller body is really, really strong with that. So it is a really cool combination of cards. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed these matchups. If you did, leave a like. I do actually really, really appreciate when you do. Subscribing is always great as well. Leave a comment and let's talk. And I will see you in the next video. Bye now.